were going to be episodes where you got to learn some things that you might not typically see, but this is actually something you can do. Good morning.
Hi there.
We are going to let you give us a little bit of a tour this morning. And just, if you want to, tell everyone what your role is, first of all, here at the museum.
Okay, I am the archivist here at the Old Mill Museum. We are the county archives, so we have records that encompass the entire county. McPherson County was founded in 1870, so I have records that go back to 1870. Depending on the record group, I have things at least up into the 19-teens, 1920s, and depending, I might have things a little bit later than that. Things after that you probably need to go to the courthouse for, but for those early records you can come and see me. And that's for anybody in McPherson County. I mean, we take in the entire county, so, and it's not just Lindsborg. So
yeah, and that's what's important to know.
Yep.
And so we've talked a little bit before you started showing me a few things this morning, and there were a lot of things I did not know. And so you're going to give us a little bit of a tour and just show us some of the things that can be found here, and that you can actually make an appointment to come see, correct?
Yep, that's
Okay,
right.
okay.
So come with me.
Okay.
We're going to start back here. So back here we have, in this area, we have tax records. And like I said, McPherson County started in 1870, so I have records that go back to 1870. And these records go all the way up into the 1950s. These are for people who owned land. So these are arranged by township, by year, and then by township. So to kind of get started in these records, you would have to have just a general idea of where the family was living within McPherson County to get a good start in the tax records. And then we have these are fabulous. These are the tax assessments, and I pulled a couple of these out, and we're going to take a look at those out on the table because they have lots of really wonderful information. The rest of the things that we have in here, we have some club records and some business things from businesses, and so
just the records are
just
extensive.
Yeah, records.
And you said during COVID you've spent a lot of time.
Yes, because we were totally closed from, it was mid-March until June 1st, so we had lots of time to do some extra deep cleaning and organizing, and so it's kind of nice to have that time. It's been sad not to have our events and things, but it's been giving us some really valuable time to get things cleaned and organized.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to set those things aside when you're super busy, don't
right.
you? And
yes,
so,
you do.
Yeah, so in some ways this COVID time has just given everyone a little bit of time to just find some extra time to do these things. So if you look, I mean, there are just so many records. There's, oh my goodness, businesses and all of these county files. I mean, just all kinds of things that are interesting.
Yeah.
If you love history, this is a great place to come.
Absolutely. We'll come back out here to the table and we'll take a look at the couple of examples. Okay, so we were talking about the tax assessments. Some of these early ones were kind of in rough shape. This one is from Turkey Creek. Turkey Creek's down on the very southern edge of McPherson County, kind of just east of Inman. But some of these very early ones are really, really cool because they have hand-drawn maps in the front of them as to where people lived.
That's incredible.
Wow. And then here's another one. This is a little bit later in time. This is from King City, and that's just south of McPherson. But these are really cool because these are the tax assessments. This would be like your personal property taxes. So you have, let's see, maybe I'm on the wrong page. How many horses, cattle, mules, sheep, you know, what kind of livestock you had. But then also how many pleasure carriages you had, gold watches, silver watches, jewelry, pianos, musical instruments. So just, you know, it kind of gives you a snapshot of, you know,
of life at
that time.
Yeah.
But then also in the back of these, there's a tab that's called List of Residents. And we have started indexing these because if you've done any genealogy, you know that there was the U.S. Census 1870, 1880, 1890, 1890 census burned. So, so this helps fill in those gaps between those years. We don't have, unfortunately, we don't have a complete set of these tax assessments. We're missing some tax assessments in the mid-1880s, but for the ones that we do, it gives you a list of the residents. These are primarily people over the age of 21, but again, it kind of helps fill in that gap between those census years.
Wow. And it gives their name, it gives addresses.
And some of them, kind of depends on which year we have, also gives the school district. So sometimes, it will say the P.O. box is McPherson. Well, that covers a large area. And sometimes it will give you the school district number, which then will narrow it down somewhat. So anyway, these are really cool.
And the handwriting. The handwriting's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so come back with me over here. So again, these are county records. We have land transfers. These start in about 1877. I think, like I said, McPherson County started in 1870. So those early land transactions took place at the Salina land office. And so those very early land transactions I don't have. Sometimes we can pick those up in the tax records themselves, but not the actual transactions. So I come around here. Again, these are arranged by township and then by year. So, and these are townships. So like 17-4 would be, I believe that would be Union Township. Yep, I was right. So it goes by the date of the transaction, who the what person was that was buying it, a description of the real estate, so by section, township, and range. And then the person, the grantor, the person who's selling, and what, and how much they paid for it. So,
these are amazing records.
Yeah. So again, like I said, these are ranged by township, and then they go by date.
You just go by tab to see. To go. How do you know? I mean, how long have you been working here? You have such extensive knowledge of this stuff to say, section such and such is Union Township. I mean, that's a great memory.
I actually started here originally when I was in college. That was a long time ago, 1981. My husband and I got married. We moved away, and then we came back. And since 1984, I've been here since then.
And just taking care of
record keeping. So like I said, we've got the land transfers. We have wills. These are the early wills. I don't have them, probably 19 teens would be the latest I have on wills. Those have all been indexed. We have a lot of our indexes on our website online. You can't get to the actual images, but you can get to the index to see if we have something that would, need. And then you can always call me, email me, make an appointment, stop in, and we can pull that and get you a copy of it.
Like if someone wanted to get a hold of you, they would just call what number and they would ask for?
Yeah, call the museum number, 785-227-3595. You can email me at oldmillmuseum@gmail.com. You can send us a Facebook message.
And just say, I would like help.
Yep.
And I would request that you know that.
And I would say for general, just if you find things on the index or just for general lookups, we don't charge it. We ask for a donation, but we don't really charge anything. If you're wanting really in-depth research on something, we do charge. It's $20 an hour for us to go beyond that basic lookup.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's fantastic to know.
Okay.
Look at these books. I just have to show you the books. I mean, just the bindings on them are absolutely, they're just beautiful. I mean, they're almost artwork, just the books themselves. Okay.
Okay.
I have to show you that up close.
Then around here we have probate journals, and I use those quite a bit. And again, those have all been indexed. We have marriage records, getting from 1870 up through about 1915. And then on back here, we have a fairly large photo collection for Lindsborg, for the entire county, but since we're a little bit further north in the county, we have probably a few more things this end of the county. Inventory of appraisals, again, that's part of the probate records. These are really, really cool. This is one of my prize things that I have here in the archives. Okay, so you all know that the Swedish Pavilion was in the World's Fair in 1904.
So explain what the Swedish Pavilion is for maybe people who are watching that don't know what that is.
So the Swedish Pavilion is one of the buildings located on our grounds across the street. The Swedish Pavilion was the Swedish exhibit hall in the World's Fair in St. Louis in 1904. After the fair was over, the Bethany Commercial Club raised the funds to go to St. Louis and pick up the building. The building was donated to Bethany College by, it was purchased by W.W. Thomas, who was the American ambassador to Sweden and Norway. He had been good friends with Carl Aaron Swenson. Swenson passed away very suddenly in February of that year, so he never actually got to see the building built. So Thomas purchased the building. They moved it here to Lindsborg, reassembled it on the Bethany College campus, and it was used as a classroom building until the early 1960s. It was then moved down here to our grounds in '69. And so that's one of the buildings that you can see if you come here to visit the museum. But a part of the fair was the Kansas Education exhibit. Now, it was not connected with the pavilion anyway. This was a totally different exhibit. These books went to the World's Fair as part of the Kansas Education exhibit. These are examples of children's school works from McPherson County. So there are 12 volumes of them. These have all been indexed, but you can see some of the type of school work. And I've had a couple people who I have done research for that have actually found like their great grandparents' schoolwork, and you know, you just can't imagine the joy that people have when they find an excitement.
Connection to our past.
Yes,
and to our family.
Right. So these are fabulous. I love these. This is our one-room school collection. At one time here in McPherson County, there were 120 one-room school districts.
Wow.
And so these are some of the books, like teacher grade books and attendance books and things like that. We had a Kansas Humanities grant, and I was just going to look this up. It's been at least 10 years, it's maybe been a little bit longer than that, to digitize this collection. So the one-room school collection has all been digitized. We probably have close to 70,000 images in that collection, between the books, the school works, and then around the corner.
I'll just follow you.
Follow me around here. We have all the photographs. These are binders of photographs. Like, you know, they used to give out the little souvenirs at the last day of school. So souvenirs, any memorabilia from the one-room schools. So.
And what years-ish would that be? Like when one-room schools were pretty much what years?
The first one-room school district was about 1870, and it was out towards Roxbury. So then you had the one-room schools up through, I would say, into the late 1940s. They started kind of consolidating those. So then at one point you had 10 larger schools around the county. And Riverside School, many of you maybe are familiar with that sat out here west of town, and then south, I don't know, maybe it's 4 miles out or so, was one of those larger consolidated schools. And they had Lindsborg used that school up until, I think, when my son was in kindergarten. I know they were still having kindergarten out there. Wow. In the late 1980s. So then that closed, but with the Consolidation Act of 1965, that said that all Kansas schools had to have grades K through 12. These one-room school districts couldn't provide that. And so that closed any one-room schools that were still open at that point. Then they closed.
Oh, well, that changed. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what else did you want to show me that you have here? So we have bound volumes of the Lindsborg News Record starting about 1950 up through, I think I said 2004.
I'm not going to pull this out, but we have an original copy of the McPherson County 1880 census.
How interesting.
And then maybe you've seen on Facebook that I've been asking for volunteers to help do some indexing. So what they're doing, they're indexing the Lindsborg phone books. So these are really cool. I had posted a couple of images on Facebook. Right now I have 4 volunteers that are doing this. They are just having a great time doing it. So if anybody has...
To be a volunteer to do this, like, what do you need to be able to do? Or do you just train them?
With this project, people are doing this at home. I am digitizing the phone books. They're then taking those images on a flash drive along with an Excel spreadsheet. They come down here, I give them a short tutorial, and then they take it home. They send me back the spreadsheet, and then I gave them a couple of more. And it's been going very well. So this is a little bit easier project because that's all printed. If you want a challenge, we are still continuing to index the list of residents in the tax assessments. So if you can read old handwriting and you want a little bit of a challenge, that's available too.
Little harder work.
It's a little bit harder work. And then back here we have a little bit of a milling archives. The majority of the records for the old mill, the Smoky Valley Roller Mill, were destroyed in a flood in the 1950s. And so we don't have a lot of records actually from this mill, but we have kind of created a little bit of milling archives with milling artifacts and things from other area mills
which has been helpful in telling the story even here.
Yeah, it has been. So
sad we lost records here, but good that you're able to do that.
Yeah.
So, well, is there anything else you want to share with us today while we're here?
If anybody would like to come down and take a look and take a tour, I'm always happy to give tours and tell you what we do down here. So just contact me first to make sure that I'm here, and because we do try to social distance and everything. So if you want to, like I said, if you want to be a volunteer, you can. We do have a couple of volunteers who do come in 1 day a week that work here. We have 3 different computers that are available, so you can come here if you want to volunteer, or like I said, you can do things from home. But yeah, I think we're kind of the best kept secret in Lindsborg, because I don't think a lot of people really truly realize all the records that we have and what we have available.
I didn't until this morning. I knew a little bit, but I didn't know all of this. So one of the comments, Lenore, I just wanted you to hear this. These archives and Lenore are a treasure for all of McPherson County. Great job highlighting this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And I think we truly do believe that. So I'm going to turn the camera around to me a little bit now. And I'm just going to tell you goodbye, I guess. And do try to make an appointment down there. This has just been an amazing little tour for me today. I hope you learned a little bit. As you realize, I'm learning right alongside you. I didn't know a lot of the things that I've learned in just this short time this morning. And it gives me some things to look forward to learning in the future. So, signing off from Lindsborg, and we'll see you again next week.